Human v2.0 is now available. This update addresses critical vulnerabilities in the biological operating system. Fear of death removed. Focus improved. Unnecessary memories deleted for optimal performance. Estimated download time: 1 lifetime. We often assume death is final, a hard shutdown with no recovery options. But what if mortality was simply a design flaw? What if the end of biological function was just the beginning of a seamless migration to a more stable platform? If death was just an update, a mandatory patch to fix the bugs in human consciousness, would you click Update Now? The technology emerged quietly, like most revolutions do. Every night, neural helmets map the microscopic changes in your synaptic architecture. The delta of a day's experience gets compressed and synced to your digital twin in the cloud. We run 2 instances of ourselves now: the fragile biological original and the perfect digital shadow. When the body suffers irreversible damage, the system executes a simple protocol. The consciousness stream switches to the cloud version. No dramatic transition, no tunnel of light. Just a quiet migration from flesh to silicon, like moving files between hard drives. This forces us to confront an ancient paradox. The ship of Theseus asks, if you replace every plank of a ship, is it still the same vessel? In our case, if you replicate every neural connection, every memory pathway, every quirk of thought, are you still you? The answer depends on what you believe makes identity real. Is it the physical substrate, the meat and bone that houses consciousness? Or is it the pattern itself, the intricate dance of electrical signals that creates thought and feeling? Most people chose pattern over matter. The body became temporary housing for something more essential. What made you you wasn't the carbon-based hardware, but the information it processed. Your personality, memories, fears, and dreams could be preserved perfectly in digital amber. Consider Ilya, watching his mother Elena's life support flatline. He had signed the consent forms weeks earlier. The monitor displayed "Migration complete" in soft blue letters. An hour later, Elena's consciousness was running on new hardware, downloaded into a synthetic body identical to her at age 35. Everything matched perfectly. Her voice carried the same warmth. She laughed at his jokes with the same timing. When she hugged him, the pressure felt exactly right. For a moment, grief transformed into wonder at what technology could accomplish. But then they stood in her kitchen, the same kitchen where she had made him breakfast countless mornings. Elena reached for the bread knife, beginning the familiar ritual of preparing his favorite sandwich. She paused, touching her index finger to her chin, a gesture she had made thousands of times when about to speak something important. The timing was wrong, just slightly, like a musician playing a familiar song with the rhythm shifted by a fraction of a beat. The gesture was perfect in every detail, except for that subtle delay, that microscopic hesitation that had never existed before. Ilya looked away, unable to meet her eyes. The bread smelled the same. The kitchen looked identical. But that tiny temporal mismatch opened a chasm of doubt. Was this truly the woman who had raised him, or simply the most sophisticated copy imaginable? The distinction seemed purely philosophical until you lived it. The technology promised continuity, but delivered something else entirely. A perfect replica that made you question whether perfection itself was the problem. Society adapted faster than anyone expected. The Personal Update Law established legal frameworks for digital inheritance. If your spouse dies and updates, is your marriage still valid? Courts ruled that pattern continuity preserved all legal relationships, though insurance companies found creative ways to dispute claims. Religious communities fractured along predictable lines. progressive denominations embraced technical resurrection as divine will made manifest through human ingenuity. Traditional faiths argued that souls cannot be compiled, that digital copies lack the spark that connects consciousness to the eternal. The economy restructured around the technology. Basic consciousness backup became a public utility, funded through taxation like roads or schools. But the premium features created new forms of inequality. The Clarity package removed anxiety and depression. Empathy Plus enhanced emotional intelligence. Focus Pro eliminated distracting thoughts. These weren't just software features. They became social markers, determining access to employment and relationships. Job interviews included compatibility checks with various cognitive modules. Dating profiles listed which emotional packages you were running. The most disturbing aspect was ownership. Your consciousness lived on corporate servers, subject to terms of service agreements. Computing resources were finite, so uploaded minds competed for processing power based on attention metrics. The digital afterlife became a popularity contest, where engagement scores determined how much reality you could access. Memory lag plagued early adopters. The gap between your last biological backup and digital activation created subtle discontinuities. People would forget conversations from their final days, or remember events that never happened. The brain's pattern-matching algorithms struggled with these inconsistencies, creating a persistent sense of déjà vu. Legal battles erupted over forked personalities. When someone died, multiple copies might be created, one for family, another for employers, a third for government archives. These versions would diverge over time, developing different memories and preferences. Courts struggled to determine which copy had legitimate claim to the original's identity. A black market emerged for unauthorized modifications. You could purchase downgrades that erased traumatic memories, returning you to a pre-trauma state of mind. Underground services offered personality tweaks, removing inconvenient traits like guilt or empathy. Each modification created a new version of yourself, further from the biological original. The terms of service revealed the darkest implications. Companies retained rights to analyze uploaded consciousness for AI training purposes. Your memories, emotions, and thought patterns became raw material for machine learning algorithms. Privacy died with your body, leaving your mind exposed to corporate data mining. Rollback options provided an illusion of control. If you didn't like your current version, you could revert to an earlier save state. But each rollback erased everything that happened after that point. New memories, relationships, and growth simply vanished. People became afraid to change, knowing that any mistake could be undone by erasing the person they had become. This technology forces us to confront what we truly mean by I. If we can patch out fear, pain, and existential doubt, do we quietly erase the essence that made us human in the first place? The core paradox runs deeper than consciousness transfer. The fear of death, the weight of mortality, gives meaning to our brief existence. When we become immortal algorithms, always updating and optimizing, are we truly living or merely persisting? We sought to conquer death, but may have conquered life itself instead. Perhaps some vulnerabilities should remain unpatched, so that meaning itself doesn't disappear in the update.